12 facts about sleep paralysis that will surprise you. Have you ever encountered a situation wherein you're able to make any bodily movements at all in the middle of the night? That can get scary, right? But sleep paralysis is actually more commonly experienced by people than you think. In fact, research and studies show that most people are likely to go through at least one sleep paralysis episode and they might not even know it. Here are more such facts and about sleep paralysis that you probably weren't aware of but should be knowing. Sleep deprivation is the main culprit. Although sleep paralysis is associated with sleep and stress disorders including insomnia, narcolepsy, general anxiety disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, panic disorder, etc., it is still experienced by a lot of people who don't have anything to do with such disorders. And the major reason behind this is sleep deprivation, that is, lack of proper and sufficient sleep. So, if you wish to get rid of sleep paralysis episodes, then you better start fixing your sleep schedule and indulge in healthy sleeping patterns. And the best way to ensure that is to get proper sleep of at least 6 to 8 hours every day. It can happen while you are waking up or falling asleep. Your body must go into REM sleep as well as come out of it, and when your body has trouble making one of these transitions, sleep paralysis is most likely to be the consequence or result. But it is still unclear as to exactly why the body is not able to make one of the two transitions. Don't sleep on your back. Did you know that sleeping on your back is more likely to trigger sleep paralysis? Well, now you do. So, you could try to sleep on your side, on your stomach, or quite frankly in any position other than on your back, as that might keep your sleep paralysis at bay and help you to not trigger it and avoid it. Steer clear of bad habits. Drinking alcohol or caffeine or even smoking before going to bed is only likely to make it worse, and if in case it does not trigger sleep paralysis, it is still highly likely to disturb your sleep patterns, which will then end up paving the way for the former. It can get really scary. Sleep paralysis is not referred to as the sleep demon for no reason. During an episode, not only is one completely unable to make any movements or say anything, but the individual might also experience terrifying hallucinations followed by suffocation. And even though these episodes generally only last for about a couple of minutes, it can still get scary, almost as scary as if you're having a nightmare. Only this is far more complicated and feels very much real as you are mentally aware of it happening, and on top of that, as your eyes are open, you are more likely to see the entire visual play out before you. Pretty petrifying, isn't it? There are types of sleep paralysis. Wait, what? There are types? There are specifically 2 types of this strange sleep condition, namely isolated sleep paralysis or ISP, wherein the individual is likely to experience it very rarely, maybe even just once or twice throughout their entire lives. And the other type is recurrent isolated sleep paralysis or RISP, wherein, as the name suggests, the individual is likely to experience this phenomenon quite frequently in their life. The target audience. Although it is quite a common phenomenon and anybody can go through it, adolescents and people with a history of mental illnesses, especially psychiatric patients, are more likely to experience episode of sleep paralysis compared to others. It's next to impossible to move or speak. You're going to feel incredibly impelled to move or get up, even scream when you encounter a sleep paralysis episode. But it's pretty much worthless to even try because that isn't going to happen. And the chances of this happening are so unlikely that only a few amounts of people are barely able to just move the tip of their fingers or wiggle their toes or twitch their facial muscles, which thus eventually helps them to wake up. Other than that, it's more or less a wasted attempt. It isn't a disease. The occurrences of sleep paralysis episodes tend to be different in every individual and vary from people to people depending on their sleeping habits, mental health, etc. And regardless of how scary or repetitive it might get, it is still not a disease and can be encountered by literally anybody. Sometimes you might go through such an episode and might not even be aware of it. Stress is a big no. If you have already had certain frequent episodes and are looking for ways to avoid more such instances, then you have to steer clear of stress to the maximum extent possible, because stress and tension can sneak up to you in the form of sleep paralysis too. The more stressed and sleep deprived you are, the more likely you are to experience sleep paralysis. Don't confuse it with a sleep tremor. Sleep paralysis and sleep tremors are often confused for the same thing. However, there are two highly different conditions and are connected to even more different causes and symptoms related. Sleep tremors are more of startling movements and feel like sudden jerks and are known as hypnic jerks, whereas in sleep paralysis, one is completely unable to make any sort of move. Besides, unlike the latter, a sleep tremor can also be because of underlying physical conditions that don't necessarily have anything to do with particular disease or disorder. You might just feel like you rose from the dead. No, like literally, you are very much likely to feel like you have risen from the dead, or worse, you might feel like you are still dead after you experience a sleep paralysis episode. Yes, it's that bad. Although it's really common. If your sleep paralysis episodes are getting more frequent and worse, then it's best to consult a doctor. Sleep tight.
That's all from us today. We want you to know that your voice is important to us. So please leave a comment below. If you are new here, then click the bell icon for notifications of our new videos and subscribe to our channel.